Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the 2020 American Climate Leadership Awards Prospective Applicants Informational Webinar. We're glad that you joined us today, and we look forward to seeing your applications come through. What we're going to do today on the call is talk about how to apply, what the awards are about, and next steps. We're also going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. So during this presentation, and as we do the Q&A towards the end, please use the chat box to submit your questions. Presenting today is myself, Megan Spicer. I'm Executive Director for Eco America, and joining me is Gibbs Rayland, who is the Program Lead for our Climate Leadership Awards. We'll both be talking you through the awards and the process for applying. But to start, let's talk a little bit about Eco America. Who are we? We are a nonprofit. Our mission is to expand and diversify who cares about climate and how they care about it and how they lead about it. And we do that through institutions. We're asking them to focus on public support and political will for climate solutions in the United States. And we support that work through programs, resources, including a lot of research that we do, guidance, talking points, our summits that we do every year, and so forth. And we provide this to help elevate visible leadership on climate change. We truly believe Americans need to see new leadership on this issue, folks in their daily lives who are leading so that they can emulate it. And in that, we're trying to shift the national narrative on climate to one that's personally relevant and motivating. Also, we do work to help build collective impact. Our three programs that we do are Blessed Tomorrow for the faith community, Climate for Health for the health community, and Path to Positive Communities for local communities. Every year we do a big leadership summit. We invite you to join. And this year at our summit, we're going to be doing our Climate Leadership Awards, and that's why we're on the call today. So what we're going to do today, already spent a little bit of 5 minutes doing welcome and introductions. We'll dive into what the Climate Leadership Awards are at our summit. We'll cover governance, how the selection process will happen, and certainly dive into the criteria process and timelines as well. And then we'll leave 20 minutes for Q&A and then wrap up in 5 minutes for next steps. So Eco America has decided to do this Climate Leadership Awards because in our mission to strive for visible leadership on climate and diversify climate leadership in this country, part of what we want to do is make sure that people can learn from each other, that they're awarded for their hard work, that there are replicable models for others to follow. And so the awards are geared towards communities, organizations, and even individuals across America who are helping to build that public support and political will, who are motivating and mobilizing people to support climate solutions. Because we can all learn from our examples. And often when people are thinking about climate and their concern is rising, they often don't know what to do about it. And it makes them feel resigned and deflated. And so we really think that Americans need to see your examples so that they can repeat them and emulate and implement them to get them over those hurdles of inaction. Of course, those of us working in the movement often feel like our efforts go unrecognized, and a third part of what we're trying to do is actually recognize and reward the efforts, and particularly those, of course, that are achieving results. We truly believe that the more positive momentum that we can infuse into our movement, the more we can accelerate and expand that transition to a just, thriving, and sustainable world. And as I mentioned before, what we hope to do with these awards is really identify and then promote the examples of your work, and doing so through media and other communications means to ensure that folks around the country can see what those models are and help to replicate them, in particular those that have been proven effective. So now I'm going to turn it over to Gibbs Rayland, who's going to give us more of the logistics.
Great, thanks Megan. As Megan mentioned, I'm going to provide an overview of the award specifics, and I'm going to talk about what a qualifying submission looks like, criteria, and the process that you'll go through to apply. I'm also going to touch on our esteemed committee for our program governance structure. So the awards, as Megan mentioned, will recognize and reward individuals and local and national organizations from all across the U.S. Qualifying submissions must be from individuals or organizations working in health, faith, youth, or local communities that are successfully expanding and diversifying public support and political will for climate solutions. And we really want to focus here on proven results that have already been achieved, not just for plans. We're looking for transformational social change. Technical efforts or commitments, we are not looking for. The awards are open to those who are engaging people from or with health, faith, community, and youth organizations or leaders. And as you can see from some of the material that's been put forward, the award categories are very broad. And so really a successful application can look quite different compared side by side. And to give you an example of this, let me give you a few examples that would bring this to light. A nurse who has influenced her patients or hospital which has raised awareness on the issue of health and climate are both great submissions. And likewise, a minister of a church which never prioritized climate action before and is now communicating on the issue and has a full-fledged socially charged congregation is another great story that would be successful with the awards program. So if you have questions about whether you qualify, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and you'll find our contact details at the end of the slides here. So in terms of the reward for great submission, we are very excited to announce that we have over $150,000 that will be awarded, and the prizes are intended to spur healthy programs that continue to thrive. We are looking for 10 finalists that we will select and award $10,000, and we are also providing travel and accommodations for 2 people to attend the American Climate Leadership Summit next year in Washington, D.C. on March 25th and 26th. A runner-up who will receive $25,000 and a winner who will receive $50,000 total will be announced live during the awards ceremony at the ACLA Gala at the Summit in D.C. on March 25th. And as Megan mentioned, there'll be press coverage, post-event, as well as extensive social media coverage. To judge the awards and select finalists, careful attention has been paid to establishing a committee of esteemed experts. We have been very intentional about selecting a diverse panel in terms of age, sectors, and areas of expertise. We have a faith leader on board, health experts, community leaders, and young leaders. And I'd like to just walk through and point out a few of these committee members. We are very excited that Gina McCarthy is joining us as the committee chair. As many of you know, Gina is the former EPA administrator and is currently the director of Harvard Center for Health, Climate, and Global Environment. And if you know Gina, you know she's smart, straight-talking Bostonian who is a great lead for this committee. So we're very excited to have her on board. We also have Utah Mayor Jackie Biskupski, who has made local air quality and climate change issues central to her tenure. We have Gus Speth, who is an American environmentalist and longtime climate advocate and author of Red Sky at Morning. Gus has done more on this issue over the years than really anyone out there, and he is a true unsung hero of the climate movement. We have Jamie Margolin. She is the founder of 0 Hour, and she is known for mobilizing youth on climate change and leading a National Day of Climate Action back in March of 2018. So we're excited and we're proud of this esteemed committee and grateful to them for taking time out of their day jobs. And they are going to be representing each of our award categories. And this committee will select the finalists, the runner-ups, and our winner. So for criteria, we'd like you to keep in mind the following 3 things when you apply. Entries will be evaluated on the basis of innovation and effectiveness in building public support and political will for climate action in the states. The second thing is consideration will be given to projects that can be leveraged and replicated, as well as efforts that prioritize equity, diversity, and inclusion. And finally, eligible efforts can be at any scale. So we're looking at organizational commitments, local or national. So in terms of applying, I'm going to quickly walk through the online application form. It's going to look like this on the left side of the screen. It's a simple Google form, and there are less than 15 questions as part of this form. So we will start out by asking you to provide us with contact information, so your name, URL, title, email, that sort of thing, so we can reach you if you qualify for one of the awards. There are also 3 introductory questions regarding your project goals, a description, and the target audience. Moving down the form, you'll then be asked to describe your project's impact, including the target audience, how your work has helped to build public support and political will for climate actions, and any metrics or key performance indicators that you can share. There's also a section on diversity and inclusion, specifically how your project activities manifest equity, diversity, and inclusiveness in the initiative. And some of these you'll see have a word maximum to them, so we're really looking for concise submissions. There's a section at the end of the form asking for any sort of media reporting examples. You can include links or examples of any media, whether that be newspaper clippings, magazine, radio, TV, any coverage that you've received for your project. So in terms of deadline here, we're asking you to submit by October 31st. And from these submissions, there will be 30 qualifiers that will be selected. If you are selected as a qualifier, you will be asked to submit a final proposal by February 1, 2020. And from there, the committee will select the finalists, the 10 finalists. In terms of timeline, we're really excited to announce that the submission form is live, and we'd ask that you go ahead and apply today. You have until the 31st of October or Halloween, and that's we're asking for folks to submit their applications by 5 p.m. Eastern. You can submit your application, have time left over for some trick-or-treating, so get it all done on that important day. The awards committee will then narrow the field from that to 30 qualifiers who will be notified on December 1st, and then those qualifiers will submit supplemental information by February 1st. From there, those 10 finalists will then be selected by the awards committee, and that's the March 1st deadline, and they will be invited to the American Climate Leadership Summit later on that month on the 25th and 26th. And again, that's held in Washington, D.C. And the runner-up and winner, which will be chosen from the 10 finalists, will be announced live at the summit during the American Climate Leadership Awards Gala, which is taking place on March 25th. And during the Q&A, we can run back through that timeline if anyone has questions. And that does bring us to the Q&A portion of this webinar. We have allotted 20 minutes for Q&A and welcome any question you may have at this time. So we're going to open it up now for any questions. You can chat those right now, and I will be looking at any questions we have. Yeah, so our first question is regarding the copies of the slides after the webinar. We are recording this webinar, and that will be uploaded to the EcoAmerica website at ecoamerica.org, and you will have it then, and we will follow up with an email post-webinar. Let's see, another question here. So great question regarding an example of a previous applicant and winners. This is the first time that we're doing this, and I'd ask Megan to speak to what a successful application looks like. Megan, if you're there.
Yes, thank you. As Gibbs noted earlier, we're really looking for an application that shows impact, and specifically in mobilizing people. Our focus, there's so much great work that's being done on the technical aspects, on policy and so forth. We're really looking for those efforts that mobilize Americans on this issue, and particularly new diversities of Americans on this issue. Getting them to support a policy, getting them to act on this issue, getting them to be out in their communities talking about or advocating for solutions. And so think about this as advocacy, engagement, mobilization, and as we mentioned earlier, various scales. This could be within your local community. This could be within your region, state, or nationally. It could be person to person. It can be online. We're really looking for a diversity of ways people are mobilizing others, again, so that others in America can replicate. So replicability is important as well. Is it a distinct program that someone could say, hey, I could do that in my community, or hey, I could do that as well, or I could join in on it. So those are some really key aspects of what we're looking for in this award.
Great. Thanks, Megan. And connected to that, there was a question regarding general support requests, or do you prefer program support? As Megan was saying, we're really looking for cutting edge, innovative projects and initiatives. So we would prefer programs out there rather than general support applications.
And this is really, these are awards. I mean, we want to award successful efforts that have already taken place. And so it really is, it's an award, it's award money. So as far as how you use the money, that's up to you. We hope that it will help you continue to do your work and engage even more people. And that's the intention. But part of it is really just to recognize your great effort that you've already done.
Absolutely. We have a question regarding specific threshold of impact you're looking for in terms of constituents reached. Hi, Christina. No, we are not looking for, we don't have certain numbers in mind. It's really, we're evaluating each, or rather the committee members will evaluate each as a unique submission. So we don't have certain targets in mind. The more impact and, let's say, data that you can provide is obviously enriches your submission greatly, but we don't have any numbers in mind per se.
And part of what we're looking for is really giving Americans diversity of new ways that they can engage others, right? So, so much of what they see is national in scale, and we do want to see some of that as well. But a lot of what they're not seeing are local, person to person, what's accessible to them. And so, that's of interest to us as well.
We have another question regarding the focus to be on an individual or the organization as a whole. Both of these qualify. If you have a health individual that's out there making a big impact and has a great story to tell, that person is welcome to apply. Same thing as an organization. They're both welcome to submit for these awards. Let's see, there's another question regarding diversity and inclusion and whether that's a requirement if an applicant is a member of youth. How would that factor into scoring? So we don't have, diversity and inclusion is an important part of the submission process, but it's across all award categories, not just for youth. Another question regarding, let's see, are there going to be any participants representing environmental justice on the governance committee? Megan, do you want to speak to that question?
Yes, as you could see in the slide of the governance committee, there was one spot that was yet to be filled, and our intention is to fill that with someone from the justice community. And we are close to getting a confirmation there, but that it absolutely is the intention. And I will say that all of the judges that we have on the committee thus far prioritize that as well. It's one of their chief reasons for joining the committee, even if they're not necessarily from that community.
Another question regarding the committee members. We do not have any engineers or architects on the committee. We identified and reached out to individuals that were representing the 4 categories that we have outlined in the awards. And Wilfred, I see another question related to related entities as apply as one. And perhaps you can write another message regarding that question. I'm not sure. I understand that question. I'm going to move on to our next question regarding aspect of budget, size, connection to Eco-America programs that would disqualify an applicant. We do not have any specifications around that, Megan, as far as I know.
Right, if you're a current partner or affiliate of Eco-America, you're welcome to apply. No matter the budget that you have as an organization, you're welcome to apply.
Right.
If the work that you do is technical in nature, it might not fit. We're really looking for advocacy-oriented work, engagement-oriented work, human-oriented work.
And a related question, is it problematic if this outreach work was supported by previous grant funding? How does it? No, that is not an issue. Again, we're happy to build on results and further the good work that's being done. So please don't be deterred by that.
Yeah, we don't expect anyone to work for free. Although I know we all donate a lot of our time to this issue, even when we are paid. But no, we don't. That doesn't preclude you from the award.
See, we have another question regarding a young project. My project is still in its infancy and doesn't have any metrics this year. Do you have any sense for whether or not these awards will be available for 2021? And absolutely, the hope is that the funding that we've received for this continues and we build upon this momentum. What are the chances for an organization with state chapters if several state chapters decide to apply? In other words, is it impossible for more than one chapter from the same national organization to win? Any advice on how to handle this situation to increase chances? Let's see, Megan,
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think that having one chapter win precludes another chapter from winning. So I wouldn't dissuade anyone from applying.
Great. Another question regarding whether the application asks for an outline or details on how the awarded money might be used. That question is not included in the application.
And again, our focus is to award the work that's already been done. Think of it similar to a MacArthur Genius Award.
I have a question here regarding the availability of a help desk or support on EcoAmerica's end to answer questions and help complete the application process. Hi, Linda, absolutely. The next slide is on contact information, and please feel free to reach out to my colleagues and me, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thanks, Wilfred, for providing this additional information. This is regarding a faith community with several 501c3 entities that work together on this issue. I would think that one submission from your faith community would probably be the most effective, but Wilfred, we can talk online a little bit more about this. And that's a great question, and one we can think about further, and perhaps you could follow up with an email, and we can talk about that offline. But I would think that you would come together as a group and put together one application.
I agree with Gibbs. If those of you on the call or those of you listening in are working in collaboration with others, I would encourage one application, team effort, and of course list the key folks involved in that and the key organizations involved in the spaces provided.
The question regarding the timing and whether this award is for work that has already been completed prior to October 30th. Yes, we're really, October 30th, 2019, that is. So we are looking for work that has been done, results to date, whether they be a year's worth of results or 10 years, it doesn't matter. But we're not, this is not for plans or things that you aspire to do in the future.
And certainly, we understand this work continues, and so it is for work that has been completed by October 30th of this year, but certainly not over, right? We all know this work needs to continue, so it's results as of October 30th.
Thanks, Linda, for your question about the availability of this information. We will upload this webinar and additional information on the awards up on our website, ecoamerica.org. So please look for it there, and please share widely with other folks that you think should be applying. See, there's another question regarding a single organization submitting more than one application for different programs.
You're welcome to do so.
And another question, expectations for the size of the applicant pool this year.
This is our first year doing the awards, and we of course hope to reach as many folks as possible. If you know someone who could be a candidate for it, we encourage you to share this information. We hope that people doing this work who are often overlooked, especially folks on the front line, are able to see that this award is available and accessible to them. Again, we also are looking for national initiatives as well as regional and organizational, but we hope that as many folks as possible that are doing this work have access to the application process.
Great, thanks, Megan. It looks like that was our last question. So we will move on to the last two slides. As I mentioned, if you have questions about your submissions, we are providing a few contact emails here. So please feel free to reach out to me at gibbs@ecoamerica.org. If you're interested in contacting our organization regarding media, we have Jennifer Giordano, who's our marketing director. She's available here at jenniferg@ecoamerica. And Molly Murray works with us on sponsorship opportunities. We'd love to hear from you, and these contact details will be also available online on our website.
Great. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. We encourage you to apply, encourage you to tell a friend. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing to help build public support and political will on climate change. There's no more important time to be doing this work, particularly as we move into 2020 and to 2022. And now's the time for us to really shift American sentiment and action on this issue. And your efforts are awarded no matter what. And we just want to thank you for considering applying, encourage you to apply, and look forward to seeing your applications come through. Thanks, everybody.